start by looking at what I just described as remote farming.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, what would you say this is?
Well, I would like to start by simply saying, great question, and I'd like to draw a quick example for most Zambians that we have a very good example of somebody in the nation that is successfully doing what you call remote farming or remote controlled farming. And this is in our president, His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema, is that he is on a daily basis going to the office at State House while at the same time making sure that his farms are actually running. And that is that he's not there physically, but they are actually working in a way that he wants them to work. That, in a nutshell, is what you'll be looking at as saying this is remote farming.
When you look at that, that is a description that many farmers have. They may be in formal employment, maybe running other businesses, and also venturing into farming. Let's talk about how citizens can entrust their investment in productive hands, productive employees.
Well, one of the things that you notice with people who are actually farming, doing remote farming, is that they have not actually entrusted. The problem is not entrusting your farm in the wrong hands, which is people who probably are actually causing losses on your farm. But rather, what you notice is what we call the unfinished plot, that I love to call the unfinished plot syndrome, where you as the owner of the farm, what you have done is that you have entrusted your farm into the hands of somebody who is incapable of actually delivering the results that you require. So what we have done is that we have categorized farm workers into three. We have the lowest group who we call handy workers. Then you have what is called hybrid workers. Handy workers, people call them caretakers or general workers. Then the middle group right there, we usually call them hybrid workers. These are people with diplomas or certificates, and the top group is brainy workers. But if you were to use an example of somebody who is building a home, Chileshe, what you will notice is that if you are building a home in Chalala or anywhere else in part of the country, when it has reached roof level, you put in a caretaker to take care of your home while you wait to finish off the rest. But you wouldn't have expectations that that person would actually finish your house, tile it, and then, simply paint it, and then you expect to make your 10,000 kwacha per month. But this is what people have done by entrusting their farms, 200,000, 1 million kwacha worth of investments into the hands of somebody who is called a caretaker, whose responsibility is just to manage these things, but they expect to get a turnout of 2 million or 5 million and above.
You call yourself the CEO farmer, and I think that most people with farms or running these small holdings feel they are at CEO level, and they have faced challenges. When you're talking about building systems and having not to have those sleepless nights and losses, for instance, wrong application of medication that can result into crop loss, so wrong vaccinations, skipped vaccinations, how do you keep an airtight system to ensure that this is actualized?
I would also want to draw attention to a perspective of credit, which is, a leaking bucket. So we feel like as farm CEOs or farm owners, as most people would call it, need to stop procrastinating. And this is simply, that this farm is a business and is not a gathering of friends or what you would think of as relatives. If you're not making money on your farm, the first thing you need to do is stop the leaking bucket, going back to that narrative. If you have, I'll give an example, 500 chickens on your farm and you're experiencing mortalities, let's say you are losing 30, 100 in every cycle, what you need to do is not increase the number of chickens for you to be able to make more money, which is going to 1,000. No, is that first of all, you need to change the person that is actually managing the 500 and change the routines and the practices that you're actually following on a consistent basis so that you can have a situation where you stop the leaking on the 500 beds. And then now you can increase capacity, therefore increasing your level of return on investment from the chickens that you're having. So the key there is that stop the leak, change the person, change the processes, and you are able to actually get, your farming going right.
Is this where cheap is expensive comes in? Because I know that hiring skilled labor may look like, I will be spending even more money because these people come with a certain level of qualification.
Well, a qualification is required. Remember, I spoke about the handy workers, right? So this is the typical majority of people on emergent farms that you find. If somebody is working, an emergent farmer is simply somebody working while running a farm. Now, at that point, what you need is what we call a hybrid employee, which is what I said has a diploma or certificate in agriculture. They have the science of farming, meaning that when you speak about wrong application of medicine, they know how to read. Number one, they know what that medication is required for you to be able to give to a particular animal or to give a particular plant. But what is interesting is that, is it expensive to have them? I will say not more than the losses that people are actually incurring while having the wrong people on their farm. What you really need for you to be able to have these guys will be determined by the size of activities happening on your farm. We call these activities enterprises. If you have got a very big enterprise, it will have an effect on how much you're paying. But if I was to give you some numbers based on our research, what we have noticed is that on a bare minimum, you're looking at employing somebody for 3,000 kwacha on a monthly basis during probation, to 3,500 after probation. You give them their NEMA and NAPSA. Remember, I said you are a business, right? And then also, what you do then is that you give them a home, but you turn off those other no funny obligations that we usually have of giving them, a sack of merry meal, buying them carpenter and all these other things. Is that you tell them that, look, my farm is now professional, sort yourself out.
Let's talk to the farmers in looking at the future of these farms. I know that there are young people going to farming, they're middle-aged, they're older people in retirement, but what is key is the investment that they're making. What is your word of advice into running a farm as a business as opposed to sometimes a charity organization?
I'm thankful for that question, Chileshe, and I would like to say that we need to remember that if you are about to start farming and the employees that you would like to bring on your farm, or if you are running a farm already and the employees that are already at your farm do not know how to read, they do not know how to write or diagnose diseases or understand leadership or management of the farm, then you, as the owner of the farm, are the only one who is qualified to do those things. Therefore, you will require to do what is called micromanagement. And then you therefore should not expect that you would actually have the utmost results. But if you were to flip this and be able to introduce on your farm the right skilled personnel, number one. Number two, the right business systems and processes that we call routines of activities. And finally, shift your perspective or mindset from running with what you call casual workers to having a team. I'll give an example. Organizations like here at ZNBC, organizations like chain stores, ShopRite, all these big organizations, what you see is that they are run by individuals who are qualified at different levels, therefore giving the top group the room to be able to rest and make enough money while results coming. Thank you very much, Chileshi.
It sounds exciting. Thank you so much, Mr. Mwale, for coming and giving us that insight.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And that is Gilbert Mwale, the CEO Farmer, just giving an insight as to how best you can run your farm as a business and how you can transform that farm from just a personal venture into an actual business venture. This is the update.